Finally, let's look at the bigs. Ange Kwame is a shoo-in. Here's a guy who, even during his stint with the national team, the first run, you can see that he plays with a lot of heart. When he played in Ateneo, he plays all out. He goes out there, gets rebounds, does nothing but really hustles hard for you, and you need that kind of guy. Against Serbia and against South Korea, he got the job done. He even spaced the floor, which is really rare for a big. So we like Ange Kwame here because you're going to get all of that and then some. Next, in an ideal world again, we kind of want Kai Soto to make a comeback here and play for the GILAS men's national team before we find out what's going to go down for him in the NBA draft. Kai Soto, here's a guy who's a great big. He has great inside moves. He can play the pick and roll, and he can play defense. Ange Kwame can do that as well. Kai Soto is sort of that type of big in the international game where he can also switch off on guards, given that his mobility improves and he has the length to defend the pick. Now finally, of course, where would we be in the international game without Abay, Junmar Fajardo, the multi-awarded league MVP of the Philippine Basketball Association? The only knock that I always have on Junmar is, and this, I believe Juan Fernandez put out a saying the other day where he exclaimed, why is Junmar Fajardo not getting used more? Well, the challenge with Junmar Fajardo lies a lot in his mobility. He can't really defend the pick and roll all too well. He can't switch off on guards because he also doesn't have the lateral quickness to keep up with them. And the challenge with Junmar Fajardo is that for the longest time, I've seen this guy play when he was with the University of Cebu Webmasters, all the way to him being in the pros with San Miguel and before I think with Patron. He's always been a back to the basket guy. In the international game, you need a lot more pick and roll because if you don't get the switch on the smaller guy, you end up with a guy who's actually probably bigger than you. And that's saying something because Junmar Fajardo is a big dude. In international play where we see him go up against New Zealand, France even, I think there was a time where we get, China, Iran, he looks smaller and he looks more immobile and he actually looks a little bit more like a decoy because he can only be a decoy. Because again, his game relies so much on his size and his ability to impact down low. This is why Junmar Fajardo doesn't really get a lot of playing time, but then again, if you can use him, why not? And that's where he makes a big impact. You know, a couple of minutes here and there, a couple of buckets here and there, and all of a sudden, you're maybe chipping away at a lead, or you're building a lead for GILAS Pilipinas. Alright guys, that about wraps up our entire list, or our entire look at who could be the best possible fits for the GILAS men's national basketball team. We got one video left though, and it's all about who should take the coaching reins, and I think you already know how the video will go, so check it out. It's going to be uploaded real soon, probably in a day or two. I'll see you then.